1 year, that's all Meta got out of hiring Alexandr Wang, one of the most brilliant AI minds in the industry. He founded Scale AI, the company that basically invented how you train cutting-edge AI models at massive scale. Zuckerberg poached him with what was probably a 9-figure deal. The mission was simple: build Meta a world-class AI model that could rival ChatGPT, not just match it, beat it. Prove that Meta could actually invent something incredible, not just copy what OpenAI was doing. On paper, it should have worked. Meta has unlimited money, they have more user data than any company on Earth, they have mountains of computing power. Zuckerberg himself was obsessed with it. How could this fail? But here's where it gets real. 1 year in, he's not rolling out this amazing model, he's selling it, giving it away, cutting his losses. And what's wild isn't just that Meta failed, it's what this tells you about the brutal reality of the AI race right now. Because Zuckerberg's not alone in hitting a wall, and that's exactly what we are diving into today. To understand what went wrong, you need to know who Alexandr Wang actually is. This guy isn't some random startup founder. He's literally the person who figured out how to turn raw data into liquid gold for AI companies. Scale AI is a data labeling company. It sounds boring, right? But it's the backbone of every major AI model in existence. Think about it this way: when OpenAI trained ChatGPT, they needed millions of examples of good conversations and bad conversations. Someone had to label all that data. Someone had to go through and say, yes, this is helpful. No, this one is wrong. That's Scale AI. They built the infrastructure to do that at massive scale, and Wang ran it brilliantly. So when Zuckerberg came calling, it made perfect sense. He didn't just hire a talented engineer. He hired the guy who understands the deepest part of how modern AI actually works, the part that most people never see. If AI models are like buildings, Wang understands the blueprints. He understands the foundation. He understands what makes a model truly powerful versus what just looks good in a demo. Meta wasn't bringing in a contractor. They were bringing in an architect. And the message Zuckerberg sent was crystal clear. We are serious about this. So what was the actual model they were building? That's where things get murky. Meta didn't announce a specific product. There's no Meta Chat or Meta GPT you can try right now. Instead, Wang and his team were building what's called a foundational model, basically a general-purpose AI that could potentially power dozens of Meta products. Think of it as the engine. Once you have the engine, you can build a car, a truck, a generator, whatever. It could have gone into WhatsApp. It could have powered search on Facebook. It could have run recommendation algorithms smarter than anything they've got now. The theory was absolutely solid, but here's what happened in reality. First problem: speed. The AI industry moves at insane velocity right now. OpenAI releases something, Google releases something bigger, Anthropic comes out with something different. By the time you've built your model, the competition's already 3 steps ahead. Second problem: data. Training a world-class model requires astronomical amounts of high-quality information. Meta has user data, sure, but there are limits to what you can legally and ethically use, and the best models are trained on a mix of sources. That's complicated. Third problem, and this is the big one: economics. Even if Meta built a perfect model, the business case got increasingly uncertain. The market was changing. Usage patterns shifted. And Zuckerberg realized he was pouring billions into something that might not have a clear payoff. Sometimes the smartest move in business is knowing when to walk away. And that's exactly what he did. But here's what's crucial to understand. This doesn't mean Meta is out of AI, not even close. They're already deeply embedded in AI across everything they do. Instagram's algorithm that decides what you see, AI. Facebook's recommendation feed that shows you posts, AI. The content moderation system that filters billions of posts every day, also AI. WhatsApp's spam detection, you guessed it. Meta spends billions a year on AI, and none of that's going anywhere. What Wang's project represented was something different. It was Meta trying to build a consumer-facing, general-purpose AI that could compete directly in the chatbot space. That's the hot market right now. ChatGPT changed everything. Suddenly, everyone wants their own version. Google rolled out Gemini. Microsoft rolled out Copilot. The chatbot market is where all the attention is flowing. That's where the capital goes. That's where the headlines are. And Meta wanted a piece of that. But here's the thing, Meta's actual strength isn't in building ChatGPT killers. It's in understanding users and patterns and recommendations. That's what they are genuinely world-class at. Trying to compete in the consumer chatbot market 1 year after ChatGPT already dominated it, that's fighting on someone else's battlefield. And Zuckerberg's smart enough to realize that. So instead of burning cash on that dream, he's refocusing. Which is smart. Which tells you something important about how serious players make decisions when the stakes are this high. Let's put this in proper perspective. How does Meta actually stack up in the AI race compared to the real competitors? OpenAI's got ChatGPT and GPT-4. They've got compute power at a scale that's almost hard to imagine. They've got a direct, profitable relationship with Microsoft and enterprise customers. That's huge. Google's got Gemini, and they've got more compute than anyone on the planet. They can train models on their own search data. They've literally got satellites. Anthropic is smaller but incredibly focused. They built Claude and they've got deep technical credibility. DeepSeek came out of nowhere and is crushing everyone on efficiency metrics. Llama from Meta is actually pretty good. It's open source and people genuinely use it for real work. But in the consumer chatbot space, ChatGPT is still king. It's not even close. That's the market Meta was trying to crack. Zuckerberg's model was supposed to be the answer. Instead of becoming a genuine competitive threat, he realized he was burning billions just to play catch-up in a game someone else already won. Now, you might think that's a failure, but actually it's not. It's information. It's Zuckerberg saying, okay, we've tried this path. It doesn't work. Let's be smart and redirect. The companies that fail in AI are the ones that throw endless money at problems without asking if they are solving the right problems. Meta asked the hard question, and the answer was no, which is why they're making a different bet. So what's the actual implication here? What does this tell us about AI and business in the future? First, talent alone doesn't guarantee winning. You could hire the most brilliant person in the world, but if you're solving the wrong problem, you're just losing money at a faster speed. That's it. Second, speed matters more than perfection in AI. The first major player to capture users usually wins. You can iterate and improve from there. But if you're the second or third major player trying to catch up, you're fighting uphill the whole way. Third, and maybe most important, the AI race is consolidating. You've got OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and maybe a handful of others who can actually afford to build frontier models. Can Meta build models? Sure. But competing directly in the consumer chatbot space against OpenAI, that's not their game anymore. Their actual game is embedding AI into their platforms, making Instagram smarter, making Facebook's feed smarter, using AI not as a standalone product, but as a feature that makes their core business better and stickier. That's a much smarter strategy anyway. And by walking away from the Wang project, Zuckerberg frees up billions to invest in everything else. Because the real money in AI isn't in having the best model. It's in having the best system that integrates with the most users. Meta has 2 billion users. That's their real moat. And they are about to figure out how to leverage that advantage with AI in ways that are genuinely profitable. Here's what most people completely miss when they talk about AI and tech companies and billions of dollars being poured in everywhere. They think it's all about creating the best technology. But actually, it's about creating the best business. Think about music for a second. Jimi Hendrix was arguably the greatest guitarist who ever lived. But the Beatles made way more money. Why? Because the Beatles understood business. They understood distribution. They understood their audience. They knew how to build a brand. Same exact thing is happening in AI right now. The company that wins isn't necessarily the one with the smartest model or the most elegant architecture. It's the one that figures out how to turn that model into something billions of people actually want to use. OpenAI figured it out with ChatGPT. People use it because it's easy and it works, and they get value from it immediately. Google's trying to do it with Gemini. Meta's trying to do it by embedding AI everywhere their users already are. One approach is we'll build the best model and sell access to it. Another approach is we'll build good models and make them better than anyone else's at the specific things our users actually need. Which one wins historically? Usually the second one. Zuckerberg's essentially saying, we're not going to try to be OpenAI. We're going to be a better version of Meta. And the decision to shut down Wang's project is proof of that change. So here's the actual bottom line. Meta hired a brilliant AI expert. They invested heavily in building a model. A year later, it wasn't working out, so they moved on. Sounds like a failure, right? But it's actually a sign of a healthy business that knows when to cut losses and redirect. The brutal truth about AI right now is this: billions and billions of dollars are being poured into projects that will ultimately fail. That's just the reality we are living in. Some of those failures will be quick, like Meta's. Some will be slow, expensive death spirals that waste years and resources. The difference between winners and losers: the winners know when to bail. They ask themselves hard questions. Is this actually working? Is the market moving the way we thought it would? Do we have the right team and the right strategy? Meta asked those questions. They got honest answers, and they acted decisively. That's what separates the companies that survive the AI boom from the ones that get completely buried by it. Meanwhile, if you want to watch how all this actually plays out, if you want to understand what's really happening under the surface of the AI industry beyond the hype and the headlines, that's exactly what we're doing every single day on this channel. Fresh stories, real context, no hype, just the truth about how AI is reshaping everything. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Follow for daily AI news, and I'll catch you tomorrow with the next story that actually matters.